Have you ever sat in the quiet of dawn, listening as the world slowly wakes, and wondered how to find real peace in the middle of life's endless rush? Buddhism, with wisdom passed down through centuries, teaches that peace is not something we must search for outside. It is a quiet awakening that begins within us. It gently reminds us that what is truly meant for us will come when our hearts are ready to receive it. Just as a flower blooms only when warmed by the sun, in this journey we will look at ancient stories and reflections that reveal a powerful truth. Letting go does not mean becoming cold or uncaring. Instead, it means freeing the heart from too much attachment, so we can fully accept the present moment with openness and calm. In its truest form, detachment is a kind of freedom, a freedom that allows us to love without fear and live without the constant pain of wishing life were different. Today, walk with me on this path of inner discovery. Together, we will explore how to bring these teachings into our daily lives, learning to release what is not meant for us, to hold gently what arrives, and to live each moment with deep awareness and quiet happiness. Lesson 1. The Art of Detachment. Freedom of the Soul. There was once a wandering monk who carried with him a small clay bowl. It was not fancy or valuable, but he cared for it because it was the only item he owned. He used it every day to drink water and eat his rice. One day, while he was washing it in a flowing stream, the bowl slipped from his hands and shattered on the rocks below. For a moment he simply stood there, watching the pieces drift away in the current. Then he lowered his head and gently smiled. A young student who saw this asked him, "Master, why are you smiling after losing your only bowl?" The monk quietly replied, "Because I always knew it was never truly mine. One day it was destined to break. Now it has simply returned to the earth." Detachment does not mean hardening your heart. It is not about closing yourself off from life. Instead, it means opening your heart wisely, without becoming overly attached to the temporary nature of things. In life, we often cling to many things and people: our roles, our possessions, our promises, and even relationships. We sometimes hold on to paths that drain our energy, relationships that limit our freedom, and dreams that no longer fit who we are. We fear that if we let go, we will feel empty. But in truth, it is this constant clinging that often creates that emptiness within us. Buddhism teaches that attachment is the root of suffering. We try to make things permanent, even though everything is always changing. Wanting to hold on tightly is like trying to catch the wind with closed fists. The harder we hold, the more it slips away, leaving us tired and frustrated. Picture a fall tree. Its leaves get golden down to the ground, nor weeps the tree the loss it undergoes, the silent pledge of spring it trusts to know. Similarly, by letting go, we allow something new to sprout inside us. Consider some of the times you have lost either a thing or a person, and initially the pain was almost intolerable, but gradually you understood that life had made room in it so that it might receive something better and wiser and truer. The thing is, when looking at the time of loss, we are too frightened to see the silent gifts that are hidden in the change. Detachment does not imply ceasing loving and caring. It implies that you love freely as opposed to lovingly. This means that you have a deep sip of life that is given to you every day, but not to the extent that you hold it tight, so that when it spills, you also end up breaking your heart with it. The first key to the inner peace is this art of letting go. Only then, when we cease to fight against the transitory nature of life, shall we start getting that which comes to knock at our door. Our heart will be open and our soul will be free. Lesson 2. Radical Acceptance, Embracing Reality as it is. There was once a young seeker who spent years meditating in the forest, hoping to become enlightened. But each morning, as he opened his eyes, the same worries returned to his mind. One day, exhausted and angry, he sat before his teacher and said, "Master, no matter how hard I try, life refuses to bend to my will. My thoughts keep coming back, my pains keep returning. I feel defeated." The master simply looked at him with kind eyes and said, "When the river flows, do you try to push it backwards? You suffer because you fight against what is. Life is not here to please your mind. It is here to open your heart. Acceptance is not giving up on your dreams or resigning yourself to pain. It is seeing life with clarity, beyond the haze of your expectations and fears. It is about walking through each moment with your eyes wide open, without coloring it with stories of how it should be." Why is acceptance so difficult? Because our mind clings to illusions. We believe that if we push harder, fight longer, everything will align with our plans. But life is like the ocean. No wave obeys your commands, yet each carries you somewhere meaningful if you allow it. Imagine standing before a great wave at sea. You could raise your fists and scream at its force, or you could dive beneath it, feeling its power pass overhead before rising calmly on the other side. The wave does not care for your resistance. In the same way, reality remains as it is whether we accept it or not. But acceptance is not passive surrender. It is a warrior's strength in seeing things as they are and then deciding wisely how to act. It is like a skilled gardener. She cannot command the rain to fall nor force the sun to shine, but she tends to the soil, prunes what has died, and trusts that with care and patience her garden will bloom in its own time. Consider the archer. He draws his bow with perfect focus, but the wind may change the arrow's path. He does not rage against the wind. Instead, he adjusts his stance, studies the breeze, and learns to shoot with its currents rather than against them. So too with life. Many forces lie beyond our control, but acceptance gives us the freedom to focus on what we can change: our intentions, our actions, our responses. Sometimes we fear that accepting reality means we are defeated, but in truth, acceptance gives us power. It releases us from fighting shadows, from exhausting ourselves against what cannot be undone. It opens space to ask a deeper question: what is this moment teaching me? Instead of, why is this happening to me? This simple shift transforms suffering into wisdom. Even the darkest nights hold stars, if only we stop resisting the darkness long enough to see them. And perhaps the hardest acceptance is of ourselves, our mistakes, our scars, our hidden fears. We punish ourselves thinking it will make us stronger, but transformation never comes from hate. It grows from understanding and gentle honesty, like the monk who watched his bowl break and smiled, knowing it was never his to keep. We too find peace when we accept that everything comes and goes as it must. In this quiet surrender, trust is born. Trust that what is meant to stay will remain, and what must leave will do so in its own time. Only in that trust can we rest finally in the deep tranquility of the present moment. Lesson 3. Trusting Fate. The wisdom of letting life unfold. In an obscure mountain village, there dwelt an ancient monk of rock tsunami peace. One particular morning when he was sweeping the temple courtyard, he was overtaken by a person outside the village who came to him in great excitement. "Master, hast thou heard? Your one cow is gone, lost into the forest." "How bad is that? How will you drink milk or sell butter now?" The senior monk stood his broom against the wall, put his eyes shut and said amiably, "Fortune or misfortune, only time will tell." A few days later, the cow brought back with her a great bull. Said the villagers, "How marvelous, master! You have two till you land now." "How good luck or bad luck? What knows?" smiled the monk. Not many days later, in breaking a bull, the disciple of the monk fell to the earth and broke his leg. And once more the people of the village shouted, "How unlucky! But no, now your pupil cannot be of help to you. The monk, however, retorted, "Fortune or misfortune, only time would show." The weeks passed. A war exploded throughout the kingdom. Soldiers arrived in the village and took all young men to fight. Yet they did not want to take the disciple with his broken leg. The people of the village cried when their sons were going, but they all surrounded the old monk and said, "Oh, how blessed art thou, master! Thy pupil is spared." And the monk bowed his head, and with the eyes as calm as the silent dawn, he muttered, "Fortune or misfortune, time shall throw." The lesson here is that the construction of life is immeasurable and incomprehensible way above the narrow ring of judgment in our familiar scope. What seems a curse now might turn out as a concealed blessing to us tomorrow. Consider your personal experience. Maybe you lost your chances of pursuing a career you so much longed to complete, and you came across a career eventually that was actually your calling. It may be that you had a relationship that did not work out. Hence, you had a broken heart. However, the end of that relationship created a gap in your heart that your purest self could flourish. Buddhism teachings remind us that nothing is ever removed from this world without reason. What is going away is what has come to a cycle. What comes has come to a place ready to take it in. However, to observe, we have to learn patience and loyalty, like the moon itself, which awaits every month to be full, once again, without worries, without rush. The butterfly and the power. Another story is of a boy when he happened upon a butterfly trying to get out of its cocoon. A desire to relieve her companion of pain having impelled him to remove the covering of the cocoon, he lightly skinned off its layers. The butterfly was easy to re-emerge. Still, the wings were curled and weak. It did not go aloft. The butterfly struggled against the cocoon, which the boy did not know was what caused the fluid to fill in the wings, and the butterfly was unable to open and lift it to the sky. And how frequently do we also grow weary at waiting in life? We attempt to open the doors that are not ours to enter into yet. There are questions we want to be answered even before they have ripened in us. However, wisdom takes time and growth is not timely. Having faith in life does not imply sitting on the couch doing nothing. It serves to address what is within your responsibility or ability, such as a farmer to the crops he cultivates, to water it, to pluck the weeds, but not to tug at the shoots so that they grow more quickly. He is aware that every seed moves in a perfect timing. Buddhism urges us to look at life as a bystander. Rather than being opposed or combative towards everything that happens, we are able to soften our hearts and ask, what does this teach us? The lesson may not be obvious now, though. As time goes by, its goal can always be realized. As we embrace the inconstancy of life, we breathe with lightness. Their grip of fear and anxiety are loosened. We start enjoying the present, that though what is to happen to us may come, we will surely get what we are destined to get. And what will not happen to us will simply fall away like the leaves of autumn. Lesson 4. Meditation, finding stillness amid life's storms. Along the winding paths of trust and acceptance, there lies a sacred practice that anchors us when life feels turbulent. Meditation. In a small forest monastery, a young monk sat before his teacher, tears filling his eyes. "Master," he whispered, "my mind is like a restless ocean. I try to find peace, but the harder I try, the stronger the waves become." The master smiled gently and placed a bowl of water filled with soil before him. Stirring it with a stick, he said, "Look at this water. When it is agitated, can you see your reflection clearly?" "No, master," replied the monk. The teacher set the bowl down. "Now wait." Slowly the soil sank to the bottom, leaving the water clear and still. The master spoke softly. "This is your mind. Peace is not created by force. It appears naturally when you allow the storm to settle. Meditation in Buddhism is not about silencing the mind or escaping the world. It is about learning to sit with ourselves without judgment and observe each thought as it arises, like watching leaves float down a river, carried away by the current. In our modern lives, we are surrounded by endless noise, phone alerts, deadlines, social pressures, inner fears. Our minds are rarely at rest. Meditation is like stepping out of a crowded marketplace into a silent forest, where for the first time you can hear the whispers of your soul. Beyond its spiritual roots, science confirms meditation's profound effects. It lowers stress, calms the heart, sharpens focus, nurtures emotional resilience, and strengthens the immune system. But its deepest gift is spiritual. It reminds us of impermanence. When we sit quietly and observe our breath, we see that everything arises and passes away. Thoughts come and go like drifting clouds. Emotions appear like morning mist and dissolve under the sun. Pain, worry, and sorrow are no different. Nothing remains forever. In this simple truth lies profound freedom. Many people say, "I can't meditate. My mind never stops thinking." But meditation is not about emptying the mind. It is about realizing you are the sky, and your thoughts are only clouds drifting by. The sky remains vast and untouched, no matter how many clouds pass through it. Simple practice to begin. Breath meditation. Find a quiet space. Close your eyes and feel the coolness of each inhale and the warmth of each exhale. Do not try to control your breath. Simply observe it like a silent guardian watching the tides. Gratitude, meditation. Each morning or night, bring to mind 3 simple things you are grateful for. The taste of fresh water, a loved one's smile, the softness of your pillow. Gratitude realigns your heart from scarcity to abundance. Letting, meditation. Visualize what burdens you as a stone held in your hand. With each exhale, imagine your fingers loosening, releasing it into a river that carries it far away. Feel your hand become light and free again. As you practice regularly, you will notice a gentle change within. Reactions soften. The chaos of life feels less overwhelming. Moments become richer and more alive. Meditation teaches us to be fully present, and in that presence, we discover a power greater than control. The power to surrender gracefully to life's flow. This art of surrender is the next step on our path to awakening. Lesson 5. Letting go of control. Flowing with the universe. Along the banks of a quiet river, a master and his disciples stood watching the water glide over smooth stones. The morning mist rose above them as the disciple asked, "Master, how can I find peace in a world that refuses to follow my plans?" The master gestured toward the river's gentle current. "See how the water flows. It does not resist the rocks in its path. It moves around them, embracing each turn without complaint. That is how peace is found, by flowing with life rather than struggling against it. We spend much of our lives trying to control every detail. Our careers, relationships, health, and the opinions others hold about us. We tell ourselves that if we plan enough, we can avoid pain and secure happiness. Yet life is like this river, always changing, moving with its own mysterious flow. The more we hold on to what we cannot control, the more we suffer. Buddhism teaches that peace comes not when everything is under our control, but when we release the illusion that it ever could be. Letting go does not mean giving up or becoming careless. It means understanding that we can give our best efforts, but the results are never fully ours to decide. We can love someone deeply, but we cannot make them stay. We can feed our bodies with healthy food, yet illness may still arrive without warning. We can speak honestly, but we cannot make sure we will be understood. The man on the cliff. There is a story of a man who slipped from a narrow mountain path and in panic grabbed the root of a tree sticking out from the cliffside. Hanging there, tired and terrified, he cried out for help. Hours passed, his fingers aching with pain, until finally his strength gave out. He let go, ready for death, only to discover he was standing on solid ground just a few feet below. How often do we live like this man, holding tightly to things that wear us out, believing that letting go means certain disaster? We hold on to jobs that drain our strength, to relationships that limit us, and to dreams that no longer fit the person we are becoming. We worry that if we let them go, we will fall into emptiness. But many times, it is only by letting go that we finally discover the solid ground we were searching for. This is the beginning of learning the art of surrender. So how do we learn to let go? The first step is accepting that uncertainty is a natural part of life. Nothing in life comes with a permanent guarantee. Often the real source of our fear is not uncertainty itself, but our resistance to it. Instead of resisting it, we can welcome each day with curiosity rather than fear. Ask yourself, what unexpected gift might life bring me today? Many times, what first looks like a problem is actually a hidden doorway. Losing a job may open space for the work you truly care about. A broken heart may prepare your heart to receive a deeper and more respectful love. Every ending quietly carries the seed of a new beginning. Another way to practice letting go is to act without holding too tightly to the results. Paint because you enjoy the colors, not because you want praise. Write because it frees your mind, not because you are looking for approval. Just like children who play simply to feel the wind on their faces, we can also learn to live with full presence and freedom. This leads us to the role of meditation. Meditation is a strong support on this path. It teaches us to watch our fears rise and fall like waves in the ocean without letting them pull us under. Through it, we begin to see clearly what we can influence and what is beyond our control. Letting go of control is not a weak surrender. It is a quiet trust that no matter what life brings, we have the strength within us to face it. It is believing that the river of life is guiding us not toward harm, but toward growth. When we release the need to control everything, life begins to feel lighter and softer. Compassion slowly grows inside us, not only for others, but also for ourselves. We start to forgive our own flaws and let go of the harsh judgments we place on our hearts. In the end, letting go is not only about releasing things in the outside world, it is also about freeing ourselves from the prison of fear within, so we can move gently with the flowing current of life. Lesson 6. Compassion, the gentle power that heals. One quiet morning, a weary traveler sat near the temple gates, tears falling onto the dusty ground. A monk passing by stopped for a moment and softly asked, "Why are you crying, my friend?" "I am not worthy," the man said through his sobs. "I have hurt the people I love because of my anger. I cannot forgive myself. My mistakes feel like heavy stones on my heart." The monk sat beside him and said, "Tell me, if a bird punished itself for falling by breaking its own wings, how would it ever fly again? Guilt is the stone that pulls us into darkness. Compassion is the gentle wind that lifts us back toward the light." Buddhism teaches that compassion is one of the most powerful forces in life. Yet we often forget that compassion must begin within ourselves. We speak kindly to friends, forgive their small mistakes, and comfort them when they suffer. But when it comes to ourselves, we often become very harsh judges. We repeat our past mistakes in our minds, notice every flaw, and say things to ourselves that we would never say to anyone else. But does this harshness truly help us grow? A tree cannot grow well if its roots are damaged. It grows strong when its roots are cared for with patience and warmth. Practicing loving kindness. There is a Buddhist practice called metta bhavana, also known as loving kindness meditation. It begins by sending kind wishes to ourselves. May I be safe. May I be healthy. May I live with ease. At first, these words may feel unusual or even uncomfortable, especially if we carry feelings of guilt or shame. But over time, they reach the quiet wounds inside us and slowly begin to heal them. As this compassion grows within us, we naturally begin to share it with others as well. we slowly begin to realize that every person we meet is facing quiet struggles and carrying unseen burdens. Compassion then becomes a gentle understanding that while no one is perfect, everyone is still worthy of love, letting go of resentment. There is an old story about a man who carried a sack of rocks on his back. Each stone he placed inside was a grudge he held against someone who had hurt him. With every step, his knees grew weaker under the heavy load, yet he refused to put the sack down. A monk passing by asked him, "Why hold on to something that only causes you pain?" The man replied, "If I let it go, they will never know my anger." The monk calmly said, "But they cannot see the burden you carry. People only see your actions. Anger is like holding a burning coal in your hand, planning to throw it at someone else, but in the end, you are the one who gets burned. Bitterness is like pouring poison into old wounds, preventing us from moving forward with an open heart." Forgiveness does not mean forgetting what happened or excusing harmful behavior. It simply means freeing ourselves from the chains of resentment so that life feels lighter and easier to walk through. Cultivating compassion for those who hurt us can seem difficult. But one way to begin is by understanding that people often act from their own pain and lack of awareness. Someone who harms others is often acting from their own suffering. This does not excuse their behavior, but it helps us stop taking their actions too personally. Second, we must give ourselves the time we need to heal. Forgiveness does not happen in a single moment. It is a slow process of letting go again and again until the wound begins to heal with wisdom instead of only leaving pain behind. Third, we must remember that compassion is not a weakness, it is a strength. It takes courage to forgive. It takes real bravery to release what hurts us and choose peace instead. The transforming power of compassion becomes clear when we begin to live with it in our daily lives. We slowly move from reacting with fear to responding with understanding and love. Our hearts become softer, our words more gentle, and our presence begins to feel safe both for ourselves and for others. Compassion is not always shown through big actions. Sometimes it is as simple as pausing to breathe before saying something harsh to yourself. It can be gently placing a hand on your heart when old guilt appears and reminding yourself, "It's okay. You are still learning. You are human." Through compassion, we discover a deep peace inside us, a peace that slowly spreads outward, touching others and helping create a world with less suffering and more love. Conclusion. As we come to the end of today's journey, remember this: life will always be uncertain. People will come and go. Plans may fail and dreams may change their form. Yet within you, there is a quiet place untouched by the noise of the world, a place filled with deep peace, trust, and silent strength. Each time you choose acceptance instead of resistance, compassion instead of judgment, and presence instead of anxiety, you return to that true home within yourself. If today's teachings brought you some clarity, imagine how life could change when it is guided by these truths. I invite you to take a moment and think about which lesson touched your heart the most. Write it down and keep it with you today as a gentle reminder. And if you wish to continue growing on this path of peace and wisdom, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Every day we share timeless Buddhist teachings to help guide your life with calmness, courage, and compassion. A special bonus lesson is also waiting in our next video to help you go even deeper on this journey. Until then, may you move through life like a calm river, trusting its wisdom and walking each step with a peaceful heart.